So I'm trying to do a little walkthrough for our project for submission on Tuesday. So I will try and make it a bit snappy, but I'll be breaking them down. I wouldn't move it through like how we did the first one for it to be very long. So I'll be doing them bit by bit. Thank you. So to begin with, this is what we are going to work with. So we have this, and then to be doing the query in our SQL workbench. Okay, so I'll just go straight into it. So this is the introductory part. Let me skip this. Then I will skip this and this as well. So to begin with, we have to get to know our data, and we dive into the water sources. Then we unpack the visits to water sources. So we'll also assess the quality of water sources, and then we investigate any pollution issues. All right, so let's dive deep into it. But before then, we need to download our data set before we'll be able to do this. So once we've downloaded it, we need to upload it onto our workbench. So I click to open a new query, and then the query is already here, MD Water Services. Let's open and execute. It'll take a little bit of time, less than a minute. Once all is done, let's refresh our schema. Then we are good to go. So we can close this, or we can delete everything in here because we've already executed the query. So back to the table. The first thing is to get to know our data. So we start by retrieving the first few records from the table. So how many tables are there in our database? We will need to run this query, show tables, in order to get the number of data we have in the database. So let's run that query. We will use select tables, and then we'll just execute. Show tables rather. So show tables, then we execute, and that gives us the tables we have in our database. Also, we can just drop down the schema on MD Water Services. We drop down tables, and we see the tables we have in our database. This is the same as this, so we're good to go. And I'm sure that what we are seeing in our SQL is the same as what we see in our slide deck. So let's move on. Right. The next is also to look for the tables that contains location, right? But in this instance, we need to select everything in there. We can as well limit it not to see everything in the sheet. So we will select everything from our MD Water Services, under which table? Location. So you can drag and put location here, or we can type it, then we execute. So you have a tall list of 1,000 rows in here. So maybe we can limit it to 10 rows. Then we're good, right? So we've limited everything. Now let's compare with what's in the data set to see if we are on the right track. So we have number 2, Addis Ababa Road. Is this a catchy that I am seeing? Anyway, so and then the town name is Harare and Urban. So yeah, I'm sure we are on the right track. Okay, so you can see that this table has information on a specific location with an address, the province, and the town the location is in, and if it's in a city, urban or not, right? So on the next one, we'll also have a look at the visits table. So we can still maintain this query and change the location to visits. Okay, and then let's execute. Also with limit of 10, if we should remove the limit, we'll get a whole tall list of a table with 100 and 1,000 rows. It will be very difficult to go through all of them. So let's limit it to 10 rows as we did earlier. And then let's compare. So we have visit count of 1, time in queue 15 for first row, 0 for second row, right? And then assign employee 124640, 124640. We are on track. So yeah, so this is a list of location ID, source ID, record ID, and a date and time. So it makes sense that someone that is an assigned employee ID visited some location with the location ID at some time, which is the time of record, and found a source, that is the source ID. Often the ID columns are related to another table. In this case, the source ID in the visits table refer to the source ID in the water source table. Okay, so this source ID here we are seeing in this visits table is a reference in a source ID, is a reference to source ID in the water source table. Okay, so let's see if we should open the water source table and see if we can find the source ID, this same thing as we are seeing here in there. Okay, so let's do that. So let's look at the water source table to see what a source is, right? So we are selecting it from water source. Let me clean visit and then water source. Let me remove the limits for now and execute. Okay, so we can also see these water source, the source ID that we referenced here is also repeating. Okay, and the type of water and then the number of people served. Let's limit this as well. Limit it to 10. Okay, so this is what we have here, right? Nice. Okay, we are getting somewhere now. Water sources are where people get their water from. So this database is actually complex. So maybe a good idea for you to look for you to look at the rest of the tables quickly, right? So there is a data dictionary that has been embedded into the database. Let's query it and see what we can get from there. So let's change this to data dictionary and see what we can get from there. Any problem? So yeah, data dictionary, good. All right, so it contains a table name, a column name, description, data, and then its relation. Okay, so employee, the table name for employee, and all of this relates to visits. And I mean, this gives a clear outline of how our data looks like. Okay, so the data type is here, which those that are integers, variable characters, date and time, and so on, floats. And then this gives a description of what we